Order. The Arrowhead Gardens General Membership Meeting called to order today, the 22nd of March at 6:02 p.m.
Billy, will you do attendance? Diane? Here. Joe?
Here.
Sue? Francis? Here. Billy? Here. Diana? Kathy? Teresa? Here. Barb? Here. Penny is excused and Katie's on her way. Did I miss anyone? Okay. Thank you. If you'll pick up the February 24th meeting minutes and review them, please. Are we done? Any additions, corrections, or deletions? Hand up, Teresa. What? Just tell us where you are on the paper.
If you go down to the end of the list, take a break. Excuse me, go down to the bottom of the page, Events Planning Committee. We need to add Sue Thatcher and Susan Woodbury.
Kathy, we've already taken care of that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other additions, corrections, or deletions? Jan? I'd like to know what the additions, corrections, or deletions, not questions about the report. Seeing and hearing them, all those in favor of submitting the, accepting the minutes as submitted, please raise your hand. Anyone opposed? Thank you very much. Jan, what is your question?
My question is, I don't understand the 23rd dessert under President's report.
Oh, we'll get to that under the president's report. And I'll explain it.
Okay.
Treasurer's report, Joe?
Treasury report for the month ending February 2024. The beginning bank balance is 5797.88. Total dessert auction revenue 1751. We had expenses of 179.43. Ending balance is $7,369.45.
Questions, additions, corrections, or deletions? Seeing and hearing none, all those in favor of accepting the report as submitted, please raise your hand. Thank you very much. Okay, Jan, let me try to hit your question. Something under the president, our 23rd dessert auction was a great success. What are you talking about?
Show is this. I'm not understanding this part right here.
Well, we needed to have a discretionary line. So when we needed to spend money, like we advanced money because we didn't get a RAF fund check turned in timely. So we had to pull that money from Peter to pay Paul. And so we created a new line item, dropped some funds in there from the dessert auction. So we don't, if we have to do that in the future, we don't have to rob Peter to pay Paul. We have a category for it to come from. That's just the line item number. That's all it means. It's an accounting number. So good question, but that's what it is. Okay, so let's get to some fun stuff first. The new Barca Lounger, or the room, all the new equipment for the Barca Lounger room, will be installed on Tuesday. We have two 85-inch televisions, a new sound bar. You'll have to check, as I understand it right now, you'll have to check the remote out of the office. They're smart TVs. Our Netflix account will be up and running sometime next week, probably after the installation. And then our equipment that we are doing for the audio visual, it will also be here on property, locked up. That was another 85-inch television set. So all the money that we budgeted from our auctions was covered by Bryan Park. So that's, I don't even know how to begin to say thank you to Brian, but we will send him an official thank you card. Bobby.
On the same subject, I have a question. So you have to get the remote control from the office and the office closes the fire.
I don't know all the details yet, Bobby. I'm just saying, as I know right this minute, that's all I can.
Won't our remotes work on it?
No, they have to be programmed to the TV. But I said, I just got the information today, so we'll get the details down. Because they know that we use ours 24/7. A lot of the properties lock up their rooms. They don't use the TVs like we do. But we just have to be mindful of what's going on with this equipment. The equipment that we got is incredibly expensive.
Wow.
And so our new audio visual equipment that will be portable and on a roll, that is also another 85-inch television that we'll be able to hopefully do lectures and classes and things like that once we figure out what all of that is. But Brian picked up the tab for the whole thing. Yeah, and so the board will be discussing. We have some things out of that budget money that we still have to cover. I think there's some carriage equipment that John is going to talk to Chris about. We need another one, at least one more cable that Chris didn't buy for us. So then we will have a rather large chunk of money that we're going to have to figure out how to spend. And I reiterate that because we are technically a nonprofit under the state, and you can't have money sitting in your bank account in a nonprofit. So we have to begin to figure out, different things, and we're certainly all open to suggestions. But the only thing you have to remember is when you want to talk to Joe, but you have to remember the things that you want to do have to benefit all. Okay, so we can't, put gas in the van for trips because that doesn't benefit all. So I'm just saying we would like ideas, so just keep that part in mind. So we're gonna have to start to figure that out. I mean, I'm completely impressed with Brian. We asked to pay our fair share of what we had budgeted. On that same note, Brian had the grounds cleared down here at the bottom of the stairs. The moss will be killed there'll be new grass planted. They tore out all of the roots. They planted the pea gravel, and the bench should be done and installed by the end of April. Andrew is working on it right now. Wenda? I can't hear you. They did over there too. So it's not just in one place, but it's right. They cleaned up on both sides, but they were preparing this side because that's where the bench is going to go. So, I mean, those are all really good news things, and we should all be really happy about that part of it. St. Patrick's Day dinner, I'm sorry I missed it, but I was having a lot of fun trying to lose my money in Las Vegas. But no, that was what I was doing. I was flying through the air on a zip line. Anyway, I got lots of good feedback on the dinner. So, all of you that volunteered for that, thank you very much. It was a big hit. Peach Patch Party, Stephanie's not here. Everything went really well, except a lot of people didn't show up for the party, even though they're supposed to. So I think there's contact going on, and contracts back at doors because contracts have to be signed. That's part of the deal in order to have a P-patch. We all think it's dumb, but it's the rule. Easter brunch will be on the 30th. Francis can give us a little deal on the menu in a little bit, but it starts at 10 a.m. and it's brunch. We still have to get a date from Carmen on the Duwamish Valley Youth Corps. Hopefully we can do that in April. And that's to play games with the kids and whip their butts again, because that was fun. There will be a volunteer dinner on April 27th. Again, that will come in Francis's report. Fun Food Day, we need to pick a date for that, either in April or May. And I think we're going to do a potato bar, right? So that's coming up. New phone list. Everybody got documents. You got one of those documents that you can just hold up and remind people. Everybody got one in their door. Please turn it in whether you want to be on the phone list or not, because there's a line on there that says, I don't want to be. So we want to try to make sure that we reached everyone. So if you don't want to be on the list, there's a line there, sign it, put it in the box. And so sometime before the month of April is over with, there will be a new distribution of phone lists. So be sure not to miss the deadline on that, because if you miss the deadline and you're not on the list, you're not going to be on the list.
Does it go to WhatsApp?
Yes. Yes. Yes, Bobby.
Will it carry over because I'm already on the list?
No, we want you to fill out the paper regardless. Yeah, because there are people have changed it. There's names that are spelled wrong, numbers that are transposed. So we would appreciate having anybody turn it in, yes or no. So it just lets us double check everything. Yes, and please print legibly. I'm the only one that did postal service for 35 years and can read chicken scratch. Okay, what else? Audio visual equipment, I just gave you the update on that. And honest to God, the boxes are as big as a house. I couldn't believe how big those boxes are. But that it all got delivered today. Netflix, I already reported on that. And is there a Block Watch report?
No, we continue to have no crime.
Thank you. Sue, how would you like to give us an update on where we are with the facilities committee? Because it's new to everybody.
So as I think we talked about last time, we have formed a facilities committee, and we had the opportunity yesterday to meet with Jackie and Julia, who is Jackie's boss. And we went over a list of some of the concerns that we had developed and had a really fruitful and I think very positive conversation with the two of them. And I'm going to just kind of cover some of the issues that we talked about, so you're aware of what they know and what they have said will happen. One of the things that we have been concerned about was the emergency planning. We are aware that if an emergency happens on the weekends or evenings when there's no staff available, we don't know what to do. We don't know where to turn off the water. We don't know where to turn off the gas. They have a plan that Shag has prepared. She said it needs to be updated, but then they will be giving a copy to us. We will go over it as well. It'll be housed with John for sure as the head of the emergency committee, but it will also be made available. We don't know all the places, but at least in the craft room, possibly with each of the building guides, so that we will have resources available to us if we need to take charge in an emergency. We just thought that was great. The trash chute issue that some of you experience, maybe all of you experience, it turns out it's a button on the compactor that has to be pushed in order for the compactor to work properly, or it at least sometimes has to be pushed. They are in the midst of trying to get a new button, but in the short run, we have asked that they instruct one of the maintenance guys on Friday before they leave for the weekend to push that button, so that ideally we'll get through. Now, so the only day we don't have maintenance on site is Saturday. Sunday, Rom comes back. So hopefully that will take care of the problem in the short run until the button is repaired and it happens automatically. They have also promised to look into getting a regular dumpster in the CD parking lot, like there is in the A building parking lot. Because if we had our own dumpster down there, perhaps that would alleviate some of the issues. Part of the problem with the chutes is people continue to put things down it that are too big. And if you put down something that's too big, it's going to stop it up. There's nothing the button can do about that. So if, and I don't know, I live in the C building and I have a car down there and I see incredibly weird things in those compost, I mean, in the recycle things. I mean, an office chair the other day, I mean, it's just nuts. So hopefully that'll help that. Bed bug treatments, there have been a few people who had their bank account was debited for the amount of the bed bug treatment. And when they were discussed it in the office, they were told that when the insurance paid, they would get their money back. As it turns out, that is a function of that Dumoso, which some of us use to automatically pay our rent. If there is a bed bug issue, what they told us, there's nothing they can do about that except the person who has the account can turn off the auto pay on their Dumoso account. Just for that month, if that's the concern. The other option in Dumoso is you can set it up so that you just have to hit that button every month and say, pay my rent or pay this number of dollars. But if you have it set up for auto pay my balance, it's going to happen and they can't do anything about that. But at least we talked about it. So that was good. Garage door, as you know, the garage gate down in the CD parking lot has been broken for a week. They are working on it. It apparently our community is called access restricted. They are not responsible for providing 24/7 security. That gate is open. They're working on fixing it. It's going to take several days because they have to remove the gate, take it away, repair it, bring it back, reinstall it. Who knows how long it'll take. They say not too long, but we'll see. But ultimately what they said was our security is our apartment door. That, so everybody just needs to be aware if you leave your apartment, I always feel pretty safe here, but I think it's probably important that we lock our doors every single time we leave, even if it's just for a short time. Because with the garage the way it is right now, anybody can walk in and come right up into the buildings. So we don't love that, but that's the deal. And if I went back and looked at the website and it doesn't claim to have security, it claims to have access controlled, which it is because of our cards. That's the word from the boss. And then let's see here. Lastly, the welfare check protocol, we have one. We asked them the emergency committee had written one up some time ago. We gave a copy to them, asked them to review it, make sure it's all still in accordance with what they think is correct, and they will get back to us, at which point we will make that available in our stands out here, in a variety of places, probably up here on the table at our next meeting, so that everybody knows what to do if they feel they need to have a welfare check on one of their neighbors. And then lastly, we talked about, this was the hard one, communication breakdown between management and residents. I think many of us have had moments or times where we felt like we were not heard or not acknowledged in an appropriately adult way, without naming names. But a couple things. One thing is Jackie moved out today. So she's now living off property. She's still the manager, but she won't be living here. And one of the things that came up in our meeting, and I have to agree that's probably part of the problem, is that she was here 24/7, people knocking on her door. She didn't have a day off, really. I mean, obviously she'd leave and go on little trips and stuff, but still, the hope is that this will help her ramp down some of the aggressiveness that we have seen behaviors from her. We don't know. We'll see how it goes. But I feel optimistic that it'll work. We'll see. Time will tell. But we were able to express those concerns directly to her, and I believe that she heard. So we shall see. Any questions about what I've said? Yes, Barb.
Not about what you said, sorry.
Oh.
Remind me where we get forms to write down something for you.
The suggestion box is right around the corner, right? Jen's pointing right at it. There's a suggestion box and there's little cards and you write your suggestions. Thank you. Would that do the trick? Okay. Oh, yes, Judy?
Maybe I didn't understand when you mentioned it, but when we have no management on site over the weekend, what do we do if there's an emergency?
911 or emergency.
Yeah, they say the only thing that we can do is call 911. There is an emergency number that is only good for fire, flood, or blood, which of course, in any of those scenarios, we would also be calling 911. But we can call 911 and the emergency number because the emergency number then could reach out to management to let them know we've got a fire at Arrowhead or we've got blood in an elevator at Arrowhead. Yes.
Does that include like the gas leak we had?
Yes, that was discussed with them.
So that's covered, right?
That will be covered in the emergency plan. Then after, when we have that document, we will be able to say, here's where you turn off the gas. And
Yes.
that was what
It
needed.
needed to be turned off outside.
When there's a gas leak, you got to turn the gas off until the gas company comes out and repairs it.
I mean, I don't want to take responsibility.
No, management has to take the responsibility with it, but it needed to be handled differently than it was handled on the last one. And once we get the red book, as it's called, that protocol can be gone over by both parties. Who's got their hand up to that?
Kathy, go ahead.
Kathy, is this the right place to ask about the washers and dryers?
Yes and no. I will.
I'm asking.
The washers and dryers are kind of an ongoing thing. They've got 5 or 6 of them ready to install, but the problem isn't that they don't have them. The problem is the vendor getting here to install. They've been having ongoing problems with vendors. They explained that to us. I don't doubt it for one single bit. The vendor says they'll be here on Tuesday and then they don't come till a week from Tuesday. And then, so they're at the mercy of the vendor once the contact has been made for them to come in and do the work, then they're at the mercy. So they indicated that in the next week or so, we should see some installation of the ones that are here. So let's just try to keep sending some positive thoughts out into the ether on that. But they were very clear about the vendor issues, and I think that those are real. There's still a lot of holdover from the pandemic about getting things done, supply and demand, people not on their jobs, not working, not having enough employees, things like that. And this company is no different than anyone else. Frustrating for us nonetheless. And so I see that. So we'll see. The only thing Sue did not mention, there are some things that have some follow-up that came from this meeting because we didn't have an exchanged agenda at this particular meeting. So she will be meeting with Jackie midweek this week about some of the follow-up, and then that committee will be meeting likely bi-monthly. On an ongoing basis. And so one of the purposes of that meeting is to try to keep some of your butts out of the office. Is that we get information and we give it to you, and then there's follow-up so you guys understand that this is how things work, this is how they're getting done. And you don't have to, go in and, bother the people at the office with, stuff that they can't control either. And in the long run, that should help improve the overall communications too. John.
Yeah, on the washer dryers, we learned that they really don't want us to put signs on the washer dryers and pull the plug. They want the office to prepare the signs for the washing machine, because a lot of times the information we put on there is incorrect, and then it just confuses the people who are trying to take care of it. And hopefully we'll get a standardized form that Diane requested. So there's one standardized form for all of the machines.
When you see the machine, the sign that's on there and it has a SHAG logo on it, you'll know that machine has been addressed by the office. And every single machine, whether it's a washer or a dryer, is now all in its own, what the hell did she call it? Tracker. So every single machine, washer or dryer, has its own number on it. They know exactly where that machine is, when it was serviced, who serviced it, and what was wrong with it. So they've come a long way with fixing with our ability to go forward with, you know, getting these things fixed. So if the vendor comes and says, well, we did that, we can say, no, you didn't, or yes, you did, but it's still not working. Okay, who had their hand up? Rita did.
I don't know if we still have, so. I don't know if we still have this thing that used to say, don't do your laundry after 9 o'clock. And why not? Well, I tell you, the laundry room is 2 apartments away from my room. So I was go to bed.
Okay, if I go to bed at 10 o'clock and I can hear that our dryers are, well, we have one dryer that, and it sounds like a bomb going off, just go boom, 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 boom. And when it, and now Barb lives right next door to it. I don't know how she can stand it. And it's horrible. And at 10 o'clock at night, 11 o'clock at night, and it's so noisy, 3:30 in the morning.
And please sign in.
So, you know,
We did ask them about some standardized signage in the garage and stuff, but I think at the follow-up meeting on with Sue this week, she could remind Jackie that those signs need to be replaced. You're not supposed to be doing laundry beginning a load of laundry after 8 p.m. So you have to be finished by 10 because the quiet hours begin from 10 until 7 in the morning.
okay.
And there used to be signs in the laundry room, I agree, and those need to be replaced.
Yeah, and that's another thing. When one time when somebody was in our laundry room and whatnot, and they asked Jackie, well, when can we do our laundry? And she said, any damn time you want.
Yeah, but that's not true.
I know.
So let's worry about one thing at a time, but I'll remind Sue about that one just to, when she does the follow-up. Okay. But anyway, it was a really good meeting and I just sat there in observance and it wasn't a bad meeting at all. It's a beginning, let's put it that way. But if it continues to go the way it did, you should see some changes overall for everybody on both sides. Things will help them and they will definitely help us. Events planning report. Let's get to Francis here for a minute.
All right, we've got the Easter brunch coming up. It's on the 30th and it'll be at 10 o'clock. If you have not signed up for it, you need to sign up for it immediately so that we'll know how many people to prepare for. We'll be pulling the paper on the 28th. So you need to sign up before the 28th. Let me write that down. But anyhow, we're gonna have breakfast potato casserole and scrambled eggs, sausage links, fruit, and possibly some ham. We haven't totally decided on that yet. And then we're also gonna have juice. So there's coffee and hot cocoa available as well. We will be decorating the day before. If you want to assist with the decoration or the cleanup or anything like that, please get in contact with Stephanie Gold. And if you don't know how to get in contact with her, contact one of us. We've got several things that we're going to try to line up for next month. And at this point in time, I'd like to make a motion that I can hopefully get a second on that. And I'll then speak on the motion, but we want to allow $250 to be moved for our volunteer appreciation dinner that we're going to be having on the 27th.
Is there a second?
Thank you.
Okay.
Details.
All right, the details is going to be basically for any of you that have not attended an employee appreciation dinner. It's for all of the people that actually volunteer. It's volunteers. So we're not going to be working it ourselves. We may decorate, we're going to buy decorations, we may decorate and get sourced, stuff like that, but it's going to be catered. You're going to get an invitation. If you didn't volunteer, you won't be invited. And you won't be allowed to to come in. It's a private thing for the volunteers. We're also inviting some people from outside that volunteer here on a regular basis, such as White Center and the Duwamish Youth that help so much in the P-patch. And that's what we're wanting the $250 for, basically, is to get us started so that we can get that volunteer event done. 250.
Are there any questions, with regard to the motion? Seeing and hearing none, all those in favor of the motion, which is $250, please raise your hand. Anyone opposed? Thank you very much. Those of you who do volunteer, you know who you are. You will be getting an invitation at your door, each of you, and there's a definite RSVP required. Because if we're catering it, we have to, we've got to have a decent head count.
And then I just add that we will be participating in food prep on Saturday night. No, Friday night. Yeah, Friday night. Sorry. Friday night, the night before, this room will be closed starting at 6 p.m. because we'll be in here getting ready. And it will also be closed in the morning first thing until we open for brunch at 10. So if you normally come in at night, don't do it.
Don't even. Okay, do we have an emergency committee report, John, Billy, whoever? Billy?
We've been having floor monitor orientations. C and D are finished. A's will be on March 29th in order to avoid the birthday party. C and D's were on Wednesday. That's why. The orientations will include getting new instructions, introducing the new temporary emergency lights and explaining how they will work, and hopefully finding volunteers to help put them up. And hopefully, maybe generating a few more volunteers. C has got 2 new volunteers. So that's wonderful. We're trying to make sure that every floor is covered by at least one person. So there's been some moving people around to try to do that. Anyway, there's signs up in A for the orientation, and when this meeting is over, I will be putting individual invitations in the doors of everybody who is a floor monitor at this point. Okay, thank you.
Okay, building guide report. I'm sorry, John?
I wanted to put out a request for anyone who lives in the A building and you're willing to help take down the lights and the stairwells. You don't have to be a floor monitor to do that. Just you have to commit to helping when the power is outage. So if someone has that ability to go up and down the stairs in the B building, then contact me at the end of the meeting. Thank you.
Is there building guide report by any of the building guides? Building A, building C, building D? Billy?
As your coordinator, I just wanted to say that next month, I would like to get together with all the building guides and start planning the next new resident orientation get together. It's been 6 months since the last one, and a lot of people have been telling me that new residents are not getting their buckets or their welcome packets. So this is a way that we try to catch up with all the people that got missed. Every 6 months, we try to hold a party, basically, and offer all this information to them. So in the very near future, probably at the very beginning of April, I would like all the building guides to get together with me and we'll plan this. Okay, thank you.
Okay, there is a new door system coming. They're taking bids on it now. The one we have now is Door King. They're going bye-bye. And the likelihood of the system that we're getting will run off your telephone. So if you don't have a phone, don't worry about it, Rita. Don't panic. The glass is half full, not half empty. You'll do something with your phone and a reader. If you don't have a cell phone, and that it won't work at the door, or you don't have one, then you will have a key card. But right now they're just taking bids, so it's probably going to be several more months, but there's a whole new system coming, which should be much better and more updated than what we've got right now. And it's also my understanding that when that system comes, there will also be license plate readers in the garage. So it will read your license plate going into the garage, and that's how the door will open. They already have that system over at Tukwila. It's actually kind of nice. So, anyway, speaking of doors, and I know that I'm speaking to the choir here, but, you can all help everybody out if, you're in your lobby. And you want to get up and open the door for somebody, do not use the handicap button to open the door. Get up, please, and just go open one side of the door manually. When you use the handicap button, both doors open, they stay open, and that's how people come in here, because the doors are wide open for too long a period of time. If you drive a car, when you go into the garage, once you're past the gate, stop your car until that gate closes behind you. It's going to be like 20 seconds, and then go on to your parking space. And try to remind your friends who have vehicles in the garages to do that. When Paul's truck was vandalized, it was in the middle of the day. The only way they could get in is because they followed somebody into the garage, because the garage door, they zoomed in and just kept on driving, which is a very common thing. But, you know, sometimes we have to relearn things. And that's one of them. You know, because when your gas tank costs as much as your copay on your insurance, you know, that really hurts. You know, and a gas tank on a truck is almost $1,000, and and if you don't have somebody to help you put it in, that's not even the labor part.
Right.
So it's not a cheap deal. So let's try to be a little bit better about how we handle the doors, and that we make sure that the door is closed behind us when we go in the building. You don't need to just zoom down the hall. You can wait for those few seconds for the door to close. And it will help everybody. Kathy Mortensen, I think that's you.
I was just wondering, and I've brought it up a million times, but since we're getting this new system for the locks, opening and closing, and we know that people come in through the garage. I've seen it. I saw somebody trying to take a catalytic converter in the middle of the day. Is there any way we can get them to apply the new method of entering our building between the garage and the elevator?
That is probably possible with the new system coming in. We'll definitely be talking to them about that, because it does make a difference.
Absolutely, and I've seen it in different places that I've rented. Almost all of them have that security. And we don't have security if they don't do it.
No, but the other thing you have to remember, when they're building the newer buildings, that stuff is built in. Now, because we've bypassed that, you have to do, you know, rewire a whole deal. It's big, but
I wasn't in new buildings.
No, I understand. But I said, like down in and I think in your garage also, you know, there's now a camera at that door, and ours on the inside of ours, I don't know about your own building, but we have a camera in the garage at that door. We have one at the elevator because it points to the door outside, and we have one at the end of the hall that also points to that door out the side. So they've added some security with regard to that, but some of the responsibility is ours. And that's what I'm emphasizing, is let's do our part.
But I'm just bringing up the fact cameras are great, but even so, even though I could tell them the day and the time, nobody could find anything about the camera, on the camera.
But the other thing is, if you see a crime, call 911. Don't go to the office. Don't do anything. Dial 911, report it, then go to the office.
I'm just saying it would be great to have the added.
Oh, I agree with you. And maybe that will come with the new system.
I hope we push for it.
I've got Bobby
then Jan, then Rita.
Okay, so let's say we're stopping at the gate instead of rushing to our spot. We're right there. And some guy walks in. Just go and park our car. I mean, what if someone still gets in even though a person walking?
I would call 911 right then and there,
Okay.
right then and there. Yeah. That's true. My phone works in the garage. For emergency calls, yes. Rita is next.
Hey, right now, we've got the problem that, our door doesn't close. So it's open early in the morning and when somebody walks in, I don't know some of them. Some of them probably live here, but we don't know that for sure.
Right.
And it's open all day.
I know, it was a big part of the discussion yesterday. I
Yeah.
promise you. But we do have the ability to observe others who we know for damn sure don't live here. Yeah. Jan had her hand up next. Okay, that's fine. Go with Kathy.
You're saying that we're gonna lose our white fobs?
Yes, you're gonna have it, it's gonna be have something to do with your cell phone. Unless you don't have a cell phone, then you will have a key of some sort. But I don't have any other details yet.
I wasn't gonna say anything about this, but maybe I should. Every morning at 3 a.m. I
You
get
should be in bed.
I am in bed, Diane. But for the last 3 days, because I live right on the side, I hear metal grinding that wakes me up. 3 in the morning, right under my window.
I hear sounds that wake me up too, that I don't know what they are necessarily at
Well,
all.
I'm thinking somebody's stealing something.
Well,
but I can't.
if you can't see it, don't worry about it.
Right.
Take a deep breath and go back to sleep. Good job. Okay.
Does it help to get their license plate number when they're stealing something?
Yeah, but yes, you should get the license plate number and a description of the car if you can. You have no idea that car might be stolen or the plates are stolen. That part you shouldn't worry about. You should give them the information that you can. Right. Try to be observant of the person, if they're tall, if they're short, if they're white, if they're black, if they've got, what color is their clothing. Just like any other ID that you would have to do in an accident scene or anything else. Every little bit of information that you have can help.
Because I'm thinking if you get their license plate and call, like my insurance company, they can track that person often. Yeah, all you have to do is tell them, hey, this guy, he hit me or something.
Yeah.
They can track him.
Right.
Yeah.
Good point. Okay, trying to think about what else. Oh, before we get to old business, no, we'll do it under old business. Ping pong table, I don't know where we are with that discussion, but I'll follow up on it. But Diana and Joe have both said that closet that's up there isn't sufficient enough, so. But there is another closet at the end of the hall, and maybe there is a way, to do the ping pong table, but I don't know what the access to storing it, because you can't just leave it there in the room or it'll walk out, sadly. Bingo funding. I don't even know what's wrong with the bingo funding. I don't get it. I'll try to do some more follow-up on it. What have you got, Jen?
As of March 1st, and this was with notice to bingo players at bingo, I've stepped down. Right, oh, sorry. Yeah, I have stepped down as of March 1st. I have other commitments and.
So we need a new coordinator.
Yes, if anyone can step up, and I have tried, to learn to call or, and to do funding. So that's where we stand with that.
So if anybody's interested in being the caller and doing the funding, see me sometime in the next week or so if you can, and we'll try to get working on it again. We do have the shelving unit now in the smaller storage unit. Thank you, Joe, for getting that ordered and assembled. And now we have 2 very neat storage units and everything up off the ground, which is actually a bonus. So that's really good. I keep thinking I'm forgetting something, but I don't know what it is. Is there any other old business on from the floor? Jumping to new business, we still need volunteers, especially for the emergency committee, the floor monitors, the events, all kinds of things. There's lots and lots of volunteer opportunities on this property. And we are a 100% resident-driven property. But in order to keep things going, we still need bodies. So let's, if you have new neighbors, let them know that there's volunteer opportunities and ask them if they're interested and let them know who they can contact. Teresa.
I was
Push it all the way out.
I was wondering if it's okay if someone might be interested, could they attend the training that's coming up for the other buildings?
Sure.
Just to see what it's like?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Anybody in any building who wants to come to the A orientation, since it's the last.
Since it's the last one that's being done, anybody from any building who wants to attend the one in A, you are more than welcome. We are, more than happy to give you an orientation, let you know what's going on, let you see whether you would like to volunteer for your own building.
Next Thursday. Friday.
And just keep in mind, volunteer opportunities are, a half an hour to an hour out of your life. You're not committing to something that's going to, take you away from your friends and family or anything else. It's just a small little time. But whoever's got their phone on, Joe, that's $5. Yeah, right. Audit procedures being written. Joe and I will have the procedure put together for the board meeting. And the board will go over that and then we will. Okay, see, this is what happens if you guys let your phone ring. We used to do that in union meetings. It was to COPA funds. So committees on political action. If your phone rang during a meeting, it was $5. Yeah. So anyway, so Joe and I will have that put together for the board meeting and the board can go over that. We'll get that done. I do remember the other thing I was going to have when the, calendar comes out this time, you will have another paper in your door. We've done a survey. We haven't done a survey for a couple of years. We updated the survey. One conversation, please. The survey's done the same way. We're going to have a second motion on the floor and I will make the motion and then she's going to have to follow the vote up. So the motion is for 3 $15 gift cards, one for each building. And it's an encouragement for people to fill out that survey because that's not one we get a really good return on. But the gift cards help us a lot and we get a lot of really good information on that. So I will need a second for that motion.
Second.
Okay. Anyway, by way of explanation, there'll be a $15 gift card for each building, one for each building. 1-5. Good God, no. I know. 1-5. So anyway, it just sometimes you need a little prodding, and that survey does give us some good information because we're asking, what do you want to do for trips? What are we not doing that you want to see? Are there volunteer opportunities that you want off campus? Like we used to have a group that went and did reading with kids and stuff like that. So there are different things. And Teresa and I put that together. Francis reviewed it and that will go out with whoever delivers the newspaper and you'll drop it in the box out front again. It's got a deadline at the bottom of the page, but be sure that you remind your neighbors to please fill out that survey because that's how we get things done and new ideas come out of that survey. So let's keep our eye out for that at the end of the month.
That's going out
With the calendar. Yeah. So whoever's delivering the calendar will be delivering two things. And thank you for whoever's delivering the calendars in each building, the newspapers in each building. It's great. It's been working so much better. So I think you just had to take the vote on the 15th.
All those in favor of approving the gift cards for the survey, would you please raise your hand? Any opposed? Motion passed.
Thank you very much. Good of the order, I'm still working on seeing if we can't get somebody to come in and discuss the rent increase and how it works under a low-income housing tax credit. And we have a little bit of time, and it might take a little bit of time, but it's not been, I've not forgotten that one. Oh, Jennifer.
I've got one. I mean, this is word of mouth gone around that there is talk that there is working on a new RS. It is on. Okay, there it is. Okay. Yes. That there's work, somewhere, some folks working on somewhere, I don't know if it's management or not, on a new, RSV, social worker. Is there any news that the board knows about this? Anybody?
I don't know how rumors get started, but somebody who was in a very private meeting passed something on that they shouldn't have. And if you're that person in that room, I'm not going to tell you things in advance anymore. I'm not saying I don't know who did it, but somebody did it that was in a meeting that was very clearly told not to discuss it outside that meeting. I get information, and I'm going to tell you the truth. Sometimes I get information that I choose to share with very restricted information because of the rumor mill. Okay? And the rumor mill sucks around here. And it gets distorted and blown out, and sometimes it's damaging to people, and sometimes it's not. But this is what I know, and I will tell you. They've applied for a grant. I don't know if they got the grant. If they get the grant, we will likely have a social worker on site again. End of discussion. Please don't talk about it all over the place. Just keep it to yourself. I don't want you going in the office and saying, when are they going to be here? Because then I'm going to lose the ability to get information that is vital and useful to us in negotiations down the road sometimes. So I'm not sure who did that, but I wish they had. It's not like I'm keeping a secret. I'm also protecting information that they're sometimes willing to share with me that they wouldn't normally. And sometimes when it gets blown out of proportion, or it's the tin can and the string, and by the time the third person gets hold of the tin can, what got said at the first tin can isn't even close to what was really said. That becomes the problem. And I'm not pointing a finger at you, Jennifer, anything that you said, but I'm saying, I try to get you guys the information as quickly as I can, or I make them give you the information as quickly as they can. But that's one, let's keep some positive thoughts out there. That was, big mistake, and and I hope it gets corrected. So, but I have no other news on that. And I will try to check with Kelly this week and find out what I can. Just as a reminder, Teresa Flores is taking off next week, and she will be gone at least 1 month. There are new signs in the elevator that I'm going to change up because the color is not good enough. It's too hard on people's eyes. For sunshine cards, Kathy Rude, raise your hand. She's going to be doing the sunshine cards while Teresa is gone. And so that's not something that will be interrupted. And then Norman is going to be doing, I think he's asked for April 20th. I think he's gonna.
That is correct.
Yeah, he's gonna be doing another dance hall. He gave me the name of it, and it's weird, but it's what he chose. I don't care. Anyway, there's music coming, and it's time for that again. And then after that is Memorial Day in May. And we need to, so that's, I don't know that we're doing anything else in May. I've talked to Francis about the possibility of bringing a food truck in, maybe in the May, June, July area or something.
Absolutely.
And some outside events like, I'm sorry. I don't know. No, Norman's is the 20th of April. You know, like getting down to the locks for the, you know, the music concerts at the locks and stuff like that. The new driver, most of you know that the new driver that they hired, trained and everything else, got a better job closer to home. And even though she was really a good fit, we didn't get to keep her. And that was too bad, but they're in the process of hiring again, and one of our persons here on property is applying for that job, and I'll leave that alone for right now. But hopefully we can get another driver here, because we would like to be able to go back and do things on the weekends once the weather gets nicer. So everybody keep your fingers crossed that that works out and we have another driver soon. Anything else under good of the order? Teresa's got her hand up.
As I travel through the buildings, I noticed a couple things, and it may come under the utilities umbrella. And one is, and I think those of us that have been around, you know, we know where to put our trash down the chute, but we don't put recycle down the chute. However, when right outside the door of that little room, it says trash and recycle. So it's on all floors. So those that have moved in and don't read their information sheet will probably read that and say, this is where the recycle and trash go. So anyway, it's just something to put at the bottom of your list. It's not a priority, but yes.
That's my list to bring to Jack's attention when I see you.
Okay. And another thing is that in C building and in D building, the furniture that we have, it was for a good reason, is that it's vinyl upholstery. I don't know about I don't remember any vinyl. Okay. But as I go from floor to floor, there are many benches that are by the elevator that are pretty nasty. They've got some really bad stains. I'm wondering if you could put that at the bottom of your list as to either spot clean those bad stains or redo them with vinyl.
Or just get rid of them.
Or just get rid of it and put maybe just a recycled material bench there. You don't need something fancy, so.
Sit on anyway.
Well, they do, but you know, something simple. But it's pretty bad looking.
You guys, then Bob, okay. Watching you guys. Can't pull me.
Our lobby has several that are cracked, and so nobody wants to sit on them. I don't anyway, you know, because the leather or the plastic actually is all spread out, and it's like, and it looks really yucky. I don't know who wants to sit on that, you know? So yeah, I sit on my walker.
Well, I think by the end of the year, you'll see some replacement of that furniture. Bobby and then Diana.
I don't think I need it. Oh, okay, so, the benches that she's talking about, if they do maybe reupholster them, if that's cheaper, it has to be, well, whatever it has to be not cloth, because somebody literally, I guess they didn't want their chicken, so they left it thawing out on the bench.
Oh,
Yeah.
Nothing
So-
surprising.
I just wanted to reiterate that we do need the benches. I see people that are not in good shape that are sitting on our bench, and our bench was, I think, stolen when the guy stole everything and someone found some old bench at Goodwill and put it there. It's not in good shape. But it is being used. It needs to be used.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else under good of the order? In that case, Joe, you got some numbers for me? Katie, Sue?
Huh? I do the different. Oh.
Well, yeah, that's true. You do. Katie, you get to do the numbers because you got last month's gift card. So number 1 through 27, pick a number, please.
15.
Number 15.
Sue Woodbury.
Sue Woodbury, she won. Okay. Nothing else under good of the order. In that case, a motion to adjourn is in order. All those in favor? Anyone opposed? Thank you very much. Great meeting, you guys.
Don't do that again, Joe. Yeah.